This is gonna be a pretty deep video, bro. But I really hope it can change your life because this has honestly changed my life a lot. And today I just want to talk about live as if your parents were dead, okay? Like how you would live differently, what you would do. Because you right now would probably live a very different life than what you're living. And you're doing a lot of things just to satisfy your parents, right? Even if you don't want to do them. And essentially, right, today I just want to go over authenticity, right? Like your own authentic self, like your parents' influence on you and what you actually like want to do, okay? So let's get started, bro. First of all it's like, I need you to realize this, yeah? It's your parents' first time, like, raising a child, right? Or like, maybe they've raised other children, right? But it's like, it's their first life, just trying to raise a child, like raise someone. And it's like, they just want the best for you, right? They want the best that you can have, okay? So they're essentially like, they're running their own meta, right? I like to say this, right? Because people understand. So meta stands for most effective tactic available. So they think like, okay, what is the meta right now? They might think maybe it's like university, or maybe they might think it's like no gym, or maybe they might think it's like no girls, right? So whatever they think the meta is, right? They're just going to implement that onto you. And they probably got this meta from their parents, right? So from like your grandparents, right? And so this is probably an old meta, right? Like, for example, like university, it's just like the ROI, like just statistically, right? Just off of numbers and so on, it's just gotten less. Like it's gotten, like there are more, like the first thing is like there are more degrees, right? But the degrees are more expensive, right? So it's like this anti-inflation, like this double inflation, I don't know. But essentially, right? These are like the old metas, right? And you can probably see newer metas now. That's why you probably like want to live a little bit differently than what your parents tell you, right? So you have to realize, right, that living as if your parents were dead, right? You can only do that if you like have responsibility for what you do. And how you do that is just by purely putting in the work, okay? Putting in the work. Because for example, right, if you have like a kid who maybe like he just goons all day, doesn't do anything, plays video games, right, eats junk food, his parents like won't really let him take his own responsibility for, I don't know, let's say his career, right? They won't let him take his responsibility for him, like maybe starting an online business instead of, let's say, just sending him to university, right? Because they see that like, okay, he can't even take responsibility of his own health, right? He can't take responsibility of his own time. He can't take his responsibility of his own room, for example, right? So all of these are very basic. So they're like, okay, logically, I mean, this is just like literally what your parents think, bro. Logically, they're like, okay, I mean, this kid is not responsible enough. We can't actually send him to, like, we can't let him do his own thing, right? We have to like basically like baby him, right? And yeah, I mean, this definitely has influence from your parents. I'm not saying this is like 100% your fault, but it partially is. It will always partially be your fault. And I would like actually argue that you should take fault for this, right? Because then you'll actually change, okay? So your own authentic self, what you want to do, or maybe like what you think the current meta is, right? What you think the meta is right now is probably different from what your parents think the meta is, right? So this is what you think, this is what your parents think, okay, and it's different. But you have to like live authentically to this, but the step one is living authentically, right? Living authentically. But the thing is that you can't really live authentically because you're under what is it called? You're under your parents, right? And so they sort of have responsibility over you. And they still pay for your food and so on, right? You probably don't have a job, right? So they won't let you, do all these things. So step zero is just like changing what you can already. So let's say this could be like cleaning your room. This could be like not being fat. This could be like going to the gym. This could be, I don't know, just like doing your homework on time, right? These very basic things that you just have to start doing these so that you can prove that, okay, yeah, I mean, this is how I need to live. And if you're already outside of school and so on, right, you're still living sort of under your parents, okay? So let me show you why. Because they have this influence over you, okay? And this influence, you'll always have it, whether you like it or not. right? You have this influence on like some of your very basic behavior, right? Maybe like the language you speak, right? Language, probably also like religion, right? These are probably like the more deep ones, but then also just like what you do every day. Maybe like when you wake up, you have, I don't know, porridge, right? Maybe because your mom makes it for you, maybe because like your mom always just made you porridge, so you just make porridge now, right? And so they have this influence over you that like you haven't experienced other things in life because they still have this influence, right? This could also be like very well the job you're doing, right? You see so many people nowadays, like, I mean, this is most people who like they either become a lawyer, like a doctor or whatever, right? Or like an engineer, right? Those are the three because their parents want them to become that. That's what their parents think the meta is. But then the thing is that that person doesn't actually enjoy whatever they're doing, right? They don't actually enjoy doing that. And so even if like, because the meta, the most effective tactic available, right, is just gonna be, it's gonna need to tick all the boxes essentially. So you're gonna need to enjoy it. You're gonna need to make, let's say, good money, right? You're gonna need to, yeah, I mean, those are usually it. So that you actually enjoy it and that it makes good money and probably that you also have some sort of freedom with it, okay? So that's probably what the meta is for most people, okay? And so you need to realize that, okay, this is actually what you want to do, right? Authentically, that's what you want to do. And you need to realize, okay, like, okay, this is the meta for me. And I need to somehow, not prove to my parents in a sense, but yes, prove, okay? You need to essentially take control of your life for the basic things and then like show them like, okay, wow, I can do really well in these basic things so that you can then like go ahead and excel in other things. If you're already making your own income and so on, this is pretty easy to do. And you should just go ahead and go all in on this, no matter what your parents think. Because, I mean, this is going to be pretty deep, right? But my mom passed away like about like almost a year ago, right? And my life has significantly changed since then, okay? I've lived significantly differently than I do then. Okay, tons of things in my life have changed, right? And the only reason why those changed is because she did pass away, right? Obviously, I didn't like that, but my life did change in many ways for the better, right? And so I'm sort of like grateful for that in a sense. Like I'm always gonna be grateful for my mom, right? And it's like she's had a really good impact on me, and it's like I always have to like abuse whatever is like good for me, right? If my mom was still alive, right? Obviously, I would spend a lot of time with her. But now it's like, now that she's not, I'm abusing the good sides of it, right? Because I know that's also what she'd want me to do, okay? And so it's like, you just have to abuse the good sides of what you can right now. So let's say your parents are super chill with you, like, I don't know, like working on your business, whatever. Maybe they like pay like stuff for you. Then you get them to like buy you a laptop. And then like instead of, let's say, I don't know, buying you junk food, right? You get them to buy you a laptop and then you just go all in on whatever work you want to do. And maybe you start making money online, right? And you just have to figure out what you truly want. It's really hard to know what you truly want because there's so many like layers of influence above you in a sense, right? There's a lot of influence like, okay, what did your like parents like how did they raise you? What did they want you to do, right? Back in the day, right? You have a lot of like influence from back then. And so you need to sort of realize that what you truly want is like, it's going to be engraved somewhere like really deep, yeah? But how you actually just figure that out is by sort of like peeling the onion in a sense, right? So imagine you have like an onion, right? I think this is how you draw an onion, right? So you have like the layers of the onion and you need to sort of like peel back these layers. One of these layers might be, I don't know, how your parents like behave to you, right? So this might be like getting your own little bit of income, right? Maybe you work at McDonald's for a little bit and you sort of scrape that layer away so that you have your own like responsibility of where you spend your money, okay? After that, maybe you take off another layer, which might be like friends, right? Maybe you make some good friends in the gym, right? And so essentially like after you peel back enough of these layers, in the middle will sort of be your core purpose. Now I'm not saying like I'm here, right? I doubt like very few people are actually here where they've peeled back all the layers of the onion. But I feel like I'm on a good path to sort of get there to know what I truly want, right? And a lot of these things that I do, like for example, like I've dropped out, right? I've done a lot of these things which are like not very standard, right? But they're because like I've like taken responsibility for many things in my life, and I've chosen that like, okay, I'd rather take this risk than, you know, do whatever I would have done normally. Okay? So yeah, bro, live as if your parents were dead is a very big thing. And it's like, it's not easy at all. I know it's kind of hard for me to condense it all into this like very short video as well. I also got this idea from The Way of the Superior Man. I don't know if you've read that book or not. He actually says live as if your father were dead. That's a little bit different. But I think live as if your parents were dead is like, it's very difficult to do, right? And that's why not many people do it. Most people will rather, just like, let's say this is you, yeah? Most people would rather just like go the normal path, right? Because it's the least resistance, right? There's very little resistance to taking this path because it's what their parents want them to do. They also know that it's like, okay, it's somewhat worked in the past. So like it'll probably work kind of all okay for them. And so they'd much rather take this path. But this path will have way more resistance, right? It'll have way more resistance. This path will have way less resistance. But yeah, I've realized that just taking this path is like the sort of one I want to take. And I think that what you authentically want to do is going to be different from what your parents want you to do, right? It's just chance, right? No way, like, you really want to do what they told you to do, right? And so, yeah, bro, just like start taking responsibility even for smaller things if you can today. Just like, clean up your room, maybe go to the gym, just like start doing stuff, like taking responsibility for your own thing. And slowly, bro, you will sort of like unlock more freedom and, you'll be able to do a bit more of your own thing. I really appreciate you watching this video, bro. I know it's like non-dopamine video. I know it's not a very happy video either. But yeah, I want to help you out even more, bro. So I've put the first link in the description. It's just my Calendly link. I don't know why I'm pointing here. But if you scroll down, it's the first link in the description where it's just my Calendly link for us to book a one-to-one call. I'll just go ahead and help you for free. And the second link is my community where it's like, I think we have like 180 people now, striving to similar calisthenics goals like us. And yeah, so yeah, bro, book a call and have an absolutely amazing day. Keep overloading, bro.